You won't believe what happened in the school gym that day. A tired, overworked janitor, widowed, broke, and raising his little boy alone, found himself face to face with a shy, disabled girl who simply asked, "Will you dance with me?" And neither of them knew. Her billionaire mother was watching from the shadows. Before we dive in, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and miracles that appear when you least expect them, smash that like button and subscribe to the Kind Heart Stories, so you never miss a moment that could change your heart forever. Ethan Wells had been mopping the gym floor for the third time that day. The annual school charity dance was just hours away, and though he wasn't invited, he never was, he still had to make sure the floor shone like glass. His hands were rough from years of scrubbing floors and fixing leaky pipes, but his heart was even rougher from losing his wife 2 years earlier. All he had left was little Jacob, his 7-year-old son who often waited for him on the bleachers after school because they couldn't afford childcare. That afternoon, the gym was already half decorated with string lights and colorful paper lanterns. Ethan tried to ignore the laughter of volunteers setting up wealthy parents who didn't even know his name despite seeing him every week. He just kept working, head down. When he heard the soft whir of wheels on the wooden floor, he looked up. A girl no more than 13 was approaching in a wheelchair. Her hair was the color of autumn wheat, and her dress, though simple, seemed carefully chosen. She stopped in front of him, her blue eyes bright with something between fear and hope. "Hi," she said quietly. "Do you know how to dance?" Ethan chuckled awkwardly. "Me? No, I just clean the place. The dancers are all coming later." She hesitated, gripping her armrests. "I don't have anyone to dance with. Everyone's busy, or pretending they don't see me." She looked down at her lap, her voice trembling. "Would you dance with me? Just for a minute?" Ethan's first instinct was to decline. He was sweaty, in a faded janitor uniform, and what would people think? But then he saw the way she was trying to hide her disappointment, and something inside him shifted. Without a word, he set the mop aside and offered his hand. Her face lit up. She placed her small hand in his, and he carefully moved the wheelchair to the center of the gym. They began to sway, Ethan humming a soft tune because there was no music yet. It wasn't a real dance, but in that moment, it didn't matter. She was smiling, her eyes glistening, and for the first time in a long time, Ethan felt like he wasn't just the man who cleaned floors. He was someone who could make a difference. What Ethan didn't see was the tall, elegantly dressed woman standing quietly in the doorway. Her eyes were fixed on them, on the man gently spinning her daughter's wheelchair, on the warmth in his smile. She didn't move. She didn't speak. But her gaze carried a mixture of curiosity and something softer. Gratitude. When the song ended, or rather, when Ethan stopped humming, the girl whispered, "Thank you. No one's ever asked me to dance before." Ethan smiled and said, "You asked me first." She laughed, and for a moment, her disability vanished from the room entirely. Ethan returned to his mop, and the girl rolled back toward the stage where other students were helping set up. But the woman in the doorway didn't move, her eyes following Ethan as if she'd just discovered something rare. She stepped back before he could notice her. The charity dance began that evening, and as usual, Ethan stayed late to clean up after everyone left. The music had been loud, the kids full of laughter and energy, and the gym floor now littered with confetti and paper cups. Jacob had fallen asleep in the bleachers, his small backpack under his head like a pillow. As Ethan swept, he thought about the girl in the wheelchair. He didn't know her name, but he couldn't forget the look on her face when she smiled during their dance. It was a smile that made all the exhaustion in his bones feel worth it. Suddenly, the sound of high heels echoed through the empty gym. Ethan turned to see the same elegantly dressed woman from earlier, though he didn't know she'd been there. She carried herself like someone who had never had to worry about rent, yet her eyes weren't cold. They were searching. "Mr. Wells?" she said softly. Ethan froze, wondering how she knew his name. "Yes, ma'am. Can I help you?" "The event's over." She stepped closer. "I'm Claire Montgomery. My daughter is Lily, the girl you danced with earlier." "Oh," Ethan said, his cheeks flushing. "I'm sorry if I—" "Don't apologize," Claire interrupted, her voice warm but trembling slightly. "You don't know what that meant to her. Lily's father left years ago. She's been in and out of hospital since she was 6. She's used to being invisible to people her age. Tonight, she came home and told me, 'Mom, someone made me feel like a princess.'" Ethan didn't know what to say. He glanced down at his calloused hands, embarrassed by the dirt under his nails. "It was nothing. She just asked." Claire smiled faintly. "It wasn't nothing. And I think you should know Lily insisted I find you and thank you personally. She's sleeping now. But if you have time tomorrow, we'd like to take you and your son to lunch." Ethan hesitated. His life had no room for fancy lunches with wealthy people. "That's kind, but I don't. I insist," Claire said gently, her eyes unwavering. "Besides, I think you and I should talk." The way she said it made Ethan curious and uneasy all at once. The next day, Ethan and Jacob met them at a small local cafe, not the high-end restaurant he expected. Lily greeted him with the same bright smile as before, and Jacob quickly warmed up to her. They laughed over pancakes, Lily teasing Ethan about his humming dance music. When the plates were cleared, Claire leaned forward. "Ethan, I don't just want to thank you. I want to help you. I run a non-profit foundation for kids with disabilities, and we need people with your kind of heart. I can offer you a job, one that pays far more than cleaning floors." Ethan blinked, stunned. "Why me?" Claire's answer was simple. "Because you treated my daughter like she mattered. Not like a project, not like a pity case. Just like a girl who wanted to dance." Ethan's throat tightened. For years he'd been invisible too, just another janitor no one saw. Now, someone was offering him a way out. A chance to give Jacob a better life. He didn't know where the path would lead, but as he looked at Lily's smile and Claire's steady gaze, he realized something. Sometimes the smallest acts of kindness are watched by eyes you never expect, and they can change your life forever. So, if you believe that kindness always finds its way back, hit that like button and subscribe to the Kind Heart Stories, because you never know, your story might be the next one we tell.